Hello, and welcome to Stop Let's Team Up, episode 106, 444, number 5. And again, I'm joined with the amazing Kirby, and we're going to talk Fantastic Four, Volume 1, issues 20 through 23. We're still in the first 3 years of Stan and Jack, and this was a mixed bag. How you doing, Kirby?
I'm doing pretty good, Ross. Yeah, mixed bags. We're being nice with some of these.
We're gonna show the revered Stan and Jack some courtesy at some point. But
this is season 2 of a show where they had a really good first season there and really fumbled the ball in the first half of the season 2.
Yeah, but you and me both thought is like, because this is the second time I'm reading it in order, and I read all this like 6 months ago maybe when I bought this Omni. And overall, I enjoyed it, but it is very Silver Age. It is, and since I didn't read it until I was 59, some of it for the first time. It doesn't get that nostalgic like if I read a Silver Age Legion, which I read. You know, my brother was handing me old Legion comics when I was little. You know, whenever they do a reprint, here's old stuff. This stuff was great. So I'm a little more for my DC Silver Age and my Avengers and certain Marvel. I'm a little more forgiving, but I love FF, but I never really bought I hadn't read this stuff. And so it's a mixed bag, especially in this. But, and where did I think it was somewhere in here, in the omnibus, I hit the point to where it was rocking and rolling. And, no, it may be in the second volume. Or it's the later ones of this. It's in the 30s or 40s.
Yeah, no, I think we hit the sweet as soon as maybe it's a little before the Inhumans show up, but once the Inhumans are here, we're off to the races.
Yeah, and it is. And where you said took a dip, you were 100% correct. I got to the dip, and I went because I was thinking, I don't know if Kirby's gonna be. Oh no, he's right. Yeah, this is. You have no idea what to do now that Jack is gone.
Yeah.
Absolutely all over the place. But these are good ones. So we're going to start with number 20, which is this is one I really, really liked. I was surprised how much I liked this one. And it's not my favorite of the 4, but it was tight. I've made my choices, and I'm going to stick to them. But it was a hard decision. Because the 2 good ones, I think, are very good. And the other 2 are just not... They're not up to snuff, in my opinion. But this one is from November. It's cover dated November. Hold on, let me pull up my fantastic... the Marvel Wiki. This comic was released on August 8th, 1963. Oh, we haven't even gotten to me being born. But my brother was reading these off the rack. He had a Foot Locker we had to throw away that he thinks probably had the first 5 years of the Marvel Universe.
Oh, man,
like 1972. They got water damage in a flood, and they got thrown the fuck out.
Oh man, that could have.
I don't know the trauma that it caused my brother Huey. It's probably why we're both such awful collectors of everything. But it's cover dated November 1963. Of course, the lineup is It's fantastic. The Thing, Invisible Woman. I will not call her Invisible Girl. It's fucking sexist. It was stupid, and she becomes so fucking badass. It is hard to read her sometimes back here. Yeah, because she's such a good character now. And I'm gonna give a lot of that to definitely to Byrne, and then. Oh, who wrote it when Tim Ryan was drawing it? Where she's wearing the inappropriate bikini outfit?
Is that like Tom? I've got those. I'm going to read them soon. DeFalco?
It's DeFalco, yeah. He made her big. Okay. He agreed with Byrne that she's the most powerful, and it was good.
Yeah.
We get guest supporting actors. Guest cast is Alicia Masters and Uatu, the Watcher. It's his second appearance. It was nice to see him come back. We get a new character, Owen Reese, the Molecule Man, who, for someone of my generation, is a very different character than this. But it was nice to read his first appearance again, because I kind of breezed through this last time. So we got the Antsy Suit Gang. Bela Lugosi gets a topical reference. Yes. I forgot how out of date that some of these guys were with the teenagers of the day when they're about 20 years out of sync.
I was going to use some Gen Z slang, Ross, but even I'm lost on that.
I know, it is. It's terrible. But it's the introduction of the Molecule Man. It's got a great covered by Jack. I love how the speech bubble of Miracle Man is also like the tag of it, where he's going, I warn the four of you not to defy the Molecule Man, and he's zapping them with his magic wand. After reading this supersized filled issue, you'll clearly understand why fans everywhere are calling this the Marvel Age of Comics. I like it. It's got a corner box with faces. Is this one of the first ones, or have they been doing it for a while?
I think this is pretty recent. I also really do love the MC Escher-ness of kind of how the streets coming up and like even the buildings are starting to fold in on themselves.
Yeah, because it gets really weird later. And it starts as always. But the creative teams are Stan, Jack, Dick Ayers inks, Artie Simic letters, which is nice. It's getting less cartoony, but it's still very Silver Age. It's for kids. Their audience is 7 to 10, 7 to 12. That's what they're getting. They think they get 4 or 5 years out of a kid. They had ideas like but I like it because it's one of the weird science fiction ones, and it starts right away. Yeah. My problem with some of the other issues is stuff doesn't start, and if you need half the issue to be about something not involving the plot, why is it in the comic?
Yeah. So I am going to say, with the issue starting out with them examining a huge piece of kryptonite,
yeah.
Reed says something to the effect of, Ben, this proves that some form of life must exist in outer space. Reed, you have met at least 3 alien species by this point. Uatu, the Skrulls, and the egghead guy, who I can't remember.
Oh my god, yes. But I like how the little ball of blue flame, and I didn't receive, I read through these, and they were kind of a chore, and I was reading them pretty fast when I first read them. But this one's great because it's a little adventure with the little ball of energy that sucks things out, and then it pulls them all in, and then there's the Watcher standing. They're inside the Watcher, and they've gone into another dimension. I love that. That was that was a little mini action scene that just moves the plot to the next step, but it's still entertaining. It's got some stupid, here's how I fight. This is how this one fights. This is how this one fights. Oh, they just all go in. And then we get the origin of the Molecule Man from the Watcher, and he's like, you got to do something about this because he's given himself too much power. And then we get to see his origin, and it's again 2 pages, moves the story forward, and it's interesting exposition, and it's some great Kirby art.
Yep. The one thing with Molecule is he beat Electro to the that should be Electro's design over in Spider-Man, because it's better than the actual Electro design, which will appear like a year later.
Yeah, but it's my when I think Molecule Man, I think the Molecule Man who's not really a bad guy. The one that comes out of Secret War. I'm not really good or bad. I'm just me, and I've got too much power, and I got to be careful. Because he's used really well in, is it Invasion, or is it in Hickman's run where he is it's during Battle World. He's holding everything together.
Okay. I still need to read that.
Yeah. Oops, sorry, spoilers.
Yeah.
But he's a big part of it because of the Secret War part, and I like him in that. I like Secret War. It's not my favorite event. It's very much a Saturday morning cartoon commercial for comics, but it's a very good Saturday morning cartoon commercial for comics. That's the way it reads, and that's the intention of it, I think. But I like him in that. But I've liked this, and I like how big and weird this is. So we get to see his origin, and then Uatu lets him out of his, he sends FF back so they can stop him. The Baxter building is gone, and they turn around, and it is moving down the street under the power of Molecule Man. So I'm sorry, guys, the streets of New York are not that wide.
No. This would be
that would have to be broad.
Would be destroyed.
This would be Broadway, but Broadway's not that long. I don't know. I don't know where the fuck it is, but even I know that's not possible.
Yeah, like Times Square, I don't think that would work either.
Yeah, because it's just going to turn into a narrower street. But he comes down, and all his power is coming from the wand, and we get the everyday. We get the battle where the FF cannot stop him, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like they all do their powers. And is this the first time she's had?
No.
That's
are we talking Sue?
Oh, next year.
Yeah,
she can only be invisible.
Yep. So, and we have, Lee and Kirby having no idea how magnets actually work with Molecule Man, but given his power set, I'm willing to kind of give them some leeway here.
Yeah, there's some cartoon physics in this. It's kind of fucked, But
yeah.
But it's some good stuff. He creates a fan that Reed stretches toward him. He creates a fan out of nowhere, and it tangles up or throws him out. And then he creates magnets that hold, like his clothes. And Johnny can stop it. And then it's just every time they try to do something that, each attack, he does something to get them, stop them all. And that goes on for a good 4 or 5 pages, and it's pretty cool. I like it. It's a good action scene. God damn, it's like 6 pages.
Yeah, it is pretty long, especially for this time.
Yeah, but I think it's really good. I think he's good. I think the art's pretty good. I'd like to see it in an epic, see it comic size, because sometimes the oversized, I think, stretches out some art.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it looked probably maybe a little more compressed, because it wasn't drawn to be this big.
Right. Because I'm looking on page 13 where Ben's getting wrapped up in all the pipes down in the sewers, and it looks pretty good. I really do enjoy this page, and the dialogue between him and Johnny as he's getting rescued. Okay, they have these two down pat at this point.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I think there's a bit in this. Because Reed and Sue don't progress. I haven't seen real Reed and real Sue yet. I don't think from my point. And then some of the stuff with Sue that doesn't age well it's still
Yeah, no. There's a lot of really men writing women in the 60s in this.
Yeah.
But I will say it's on page 14 in the second panel. Sue's invisibility is the best it looks there, where she's just not colored in and inked perfectly. I think rather than the dotted line we get from her a lot of the time, it works super well here.
Yeah, I think it does too. But I understand why we're going to get to see a change in her powers in the next issue. But I mean, I liked Molecule Man. I think he's a good villain. He looks really good. I think he looks better here than he does, say, in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I just think he looks because I think all of it, because they kind of toned down the zigzag lines. I don't think there's many, and he doesn't have zigzag lips. But I think it makes him look menacing.
The zigzag lips are just disturbing. When I try and picture that in real life, it's ugh.
Yeah. And then they escape on the subway. That's what I like, is they finally have to get away, so they have to get on the subway. And then they get helped by one of the Yankee guys, and they have to get a ride in a delivery cart driven by a horse. I'm gonna Google it, but I'm assuming these guys lived in New York, and maybe they still had people pulling shit by horse in 1963.
I mean, I could believe that. I could believe that just fine. But then they hide out in Alicia Masters' place, where if you're going to be hunting down the Fantastic Four, that's probably the second place you're going to look.
Yeah, but I mean, they get her to shoot the flare gun to attract him because they've got a plan. I air quote that because we're talking a Silver Age comic book. It's the shit. It's the jump to it's the quick end. It's like in TV where you get a solution in a murder in a mediocre cop show in the last 10 minutes of the episode just because shit, we're running out of time. Let's wrap this up. But I don't think it's that. He gets there.
By a slide. He gets there by a slide.
Yeah, I know. But see, that's the thing with him is he's like the Impossible Man. He can do all this weird stuff, and I like it because it's not as crazy it will get in the future.
No.
But it's it's because he can only manipulate non-organic material.
But by the way, I actually had in my notes, he's like a more serious Impossible Man, so that's good. I like that we're on the same wavelength there.
Yeah. And he gets there and he gets there and there's this big statue of the 4FF or 4 statues, and he tries to manipulate them, and he can't because, oh wait, it's them coated in a non-organic material, an organic material with a fine coating of clay, so he can't manipulate. He can't do it, and while he's distracted, the Watcher steals him, and they steal his wand because they think the wand has all the power.
Yep. I was trying to remember Abracadabra over in the Flash. I don't know if he was around yet, but Molecule Man, this issue kind of reminded me of him here.
Yeah.
Just with the wand and all that.
Yeah, I like that. I like this. So overall, I really like this comic. I think it was fun. If I was a 10-year-old, I would have been enjoying the crap out of it, and I think it was really good.
Yeah, I think this is like a solid average issue of early Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
it's not hitting any of the peaks, but it's not hitting any of the valleys either.
No, and you can see how well crafted. So your book does not have letter pages, does it?
Nope. No, it does not.
Well, I've got one to read in one. There are two we're going to hear today. One for that was in this issue, but it referenced something else. And I'm not telling Kirby who it's from, but he'll understand why I'm reading it. If I couldn't read it, because I've got the wrong damn glasses on. We'll muddle through. Dear Stan and Jack, we are some of the many groups of fans who have a Fantastic Four fan club. Each of our members has an FF shirt which we made ourselves, and every member of the club is waiting for the FF annual. We also think that you should keep your pinup pages because they are perfect for decorating our clubhouse. We just had a poll on the comics and heroes in the FF, and here's the results. Fantastic Four cover, The Return of Dr. Doom. Favorite story, The Mad Thinker and His Awesome Android. Best villain, Dr. Doom. Best pinup picture of the Fantastic Four. Best pinup picture of the Fantastic Four. Best member, the Human Torch. I suppose after this, there'll be more FF polls, so we're glad we started it. Fantastic Four Club, care of Mark Grunwald, Secretary, 605 North Sawyer Street, Okosh, Wisconsin.
Wow.
I do, when I'm reading this, I look for people. And
okay,
I saw that one and went, bravo, dude. That's good on him because he's a little kid writing this, and I just paid a shit ton of money for comics written by him because how good a fucking comic writer he is. I love that he was in here. We got another one in the next. We got someone else in the next one.
Okay, my gut was Roy Thomas, but we might have already had a Roy Thomas.
No, Roy already worked. He's graduated. He may be almost out of college because he.
Okay.
Yeah, because Grunwald's a lot younger than him. All right, so we're gonna move on to 21, which is the Hate Monger. Hold on, let me go to Fantastic Wiki to get the pertinent data. This one is I love this cover. God, I love this cover. All right, this one was released on September 10th, 1963. It was cover dated December 1963. Roll call. The Fantastic Four, period. Let's move on. Supporting characters Nick Fury and Alicia Masters. Yay to both of that. And Hate Monger. And we'll save the spoilers for Hate Monger. But we get to see Spidey in a photo, Cleopatra, Liz Taylor, Yahweh? Invoked. Oh, he's invoked. I didn't think that is a picture of God. The Howling Commandos were mentioned. Adolf Hitler was mentioned. Nazis, human sharks. Fantastic Four uniforms. What did they change? Well, was there? Okay. And this one has a way long synopsis, so we're gonna skip it. This has a cover by Jack, Paul Reinman, Stan Goldberg, and Artie Simic. So I guess Goldberg did the lettering. Reinman did the inks. It's a great cover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If I was a little kid And Nick Fury Comics is only 5 or 6 issues long, and he's a guest star because he's got a big blue arrow letting us know this issue's great guest star, Sergeant Fury, more exciting than ever.
I have so many questions about Nick Fury, but why don't we save it till he shows up in the story?
Each fighting another under the sinister spell of the hate monger. Don't dare reveal his true identity after reading this a book-length bombshell. This issue is written by Stan, penciled by Jack, inked by George Russos, colors uncredited, letter Artie Simic, editor Stan Lee. Got a great splash page, which is just the hate monger standing in front of flames and a barbed wire fence holding a torch with the faces of the Fantastic Four. Ben is very rocky, and Steve looks like he's fucking tripping balls because his eyes are big. He looks that, or he's someone's. I
just want to rip this Band-Aid. I cannot stand the inking in this issue and most of the next ones. Like, Ben just looks poorly drawn, and I think it's because of the inking, and it just bugs the crap out of me every time.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Human looks like he's come out of A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like.
The hate monger looks good.
The story. The hate monger himself looks really good, and just that question, Ross, for you is: how often has a hate monger showed up to fight Captain America?
I don't know. A couple times. He's more an FF. He's more an FF villain, but he's a great villain. I think he's an underrated villain. I think there are other ways to do it. You know, what did they say? He's ultimately a clone or something? I don't know. But this one starts off with them doing everyday things. You know, Reed's doing an experiment. Johnny's throwing flaming darts at a Spider-Man picture on a dartboard. Invisible Girl's shopping for wigs. Yes. Really, gentlemen, you should not be writing women. You're terrible at it. I hope your kids. Well, Jack's kids did see it. I hope his daughter had words with him later. And
his Bart is good.
Yeah, it gets better. No, it gets better. I think he learns. He was a liberal man in the Second World War. They learned. They kind of adapted very well to changes in society. And the other is Ben's been reading the paper and he's upset and he's punching his uber scientific punching bag, causing like seismic shocks. Everybody's knocked off their feet. And because he's upset about the hate monger, because Ben, being a good Jewish superhero, doesn't like Nazis. He doesn't like fascists.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, no, and obviously I don't think Ben's being Jewish would be like formally established here, but here's like the clearest
that he represents Jack.
You know.
And that's what I think it is. And
Big
I like
time.
it because they go to one of his rallies and it's just this is very timely in a lot of way to me, and when I read it the last time it was timely because we got a lot of divisiveness, and I've been listening to the Rachel Maddow prequel thing where she talked about the rise of fascism in America before World War II and how it is very similar to what some of the stuff that's going on nowadays in Europe and America. So it kind of hit a button, but I like this. I think the art I know what you mean with the inking. The inking is really heavy-handed in this issue. But it doesn't bug me as much here.
Yeah, but like hate monger, it's weird. He looks good, but everything else bugs me. Except we do get like Clark Gable at the bottom of page 4, so that amused me. It might not be Clark Gable. That's just where my brain's going.
Like it. I got you. And then there's they're gonna turn Reed. They get that's right. They get zapped by the hate monger. The hate monger's having a rally, and he gets the people in the crowd to start hitting people because they were different. And Ben comes and wrecks the stand where they're standing, and then as the four of them rush the stage, they get zapped by the hate monger's gun, and then they turn on each other. So.
And I actually do really like these pages of them just fighting, like Ben or Johnny Mellon Ben's shoes and all of that. That part looks really good.
Ben ties knots with Reed's wrists, and then turns in his feet, and then makes a slingshot and tries to shoot Johnny and Reed across town. But Sue turns herself invisible and then pulls up, unties Reed's hands, and they all go crashing. Look. Hang on. Hello? Oop. Ah, God damn it. Can you mark what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, so we're at the 2602.
2602. Remind me that I don't got a piece of paper. Do you got it? Shit. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
But Ben, Reed, and Johnny go shooting down the street. They have an argument. They all walk off. While the hate monger and his men, who are dressed like their green shirts,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is New York. Not even 20 years after World War II, they'd be getting their asses kicked.
Yeah.
But they're appearing, and he's clenching his fist and looking out. He's very proud of himself. We cut to the Baxter building where Reed shows up, and all the doormen and the concierge people are all beat up. It's because they're all fighting Nick Fury, his old army buddy. And he apologized, and they go up. Nick has both his eyes, so this is...
Okay, question one. I understand World War II, he had both his eyes in those stories. I assumed he just at some point lost the eye before he ever appeared in a present day story.
No, but when he starts doing it, the eye is explained in a Sergeant Fury, or maybe in a Strange Tales, but there's something. It's sometime between here and there, but I think it is sometime before he gets his own series.
Okay, and he's also working for the CIA and
yeah, because that's
SHIELD.
not created until he gets his own series. So
okay, that covers my questions with Two-Eyed Nick Fury and working for the CIA.
We are so early in the Marvel Universe. There is no SHIELD. There's none of those concepts. But he smokes a cigarette. He gets a thing, and he tells Reed that there is a lot of right wing, the fascism and anti-government troubles going on around the world, and he needs help. And Reed just blows it off because, he's affected by the hate monger's ray. And Reed flies up in the pogo plane, which causes everybody else to run to the headquarters to find Nick Fury there. Again, Sue's shopping.
Yeah.
Johnny is hot rodding cars, and Ben is hanging out with Alicia. He's the only person with a normal relationship.
Yeah.
But Ben, him and Ben are friends from the war, and he convinces them that there's a problem with the hate monger, and they aim to go to the hate monger's headquarters. And the hate monger moves underground by a reverse rocket, whatever that means. But it's a rocket that fires down and burns a hole in the ground, and then that's how he travels around the world, is by digging tunnels.
This gets so much more real estate than I feel like it really should.
Man, it's like a page. It's more than a page. It's like it's a page and a half. Yeah. It's really neatly drawn, but it's not necessary. But I get it. You want to have action, and they're creating action, even if it's in a movie we would see a 3-minute sequence of this burning through the earth or whatever, and we see they're in Latin America, so if everybody's wearing a sombrero, looks like they're fought in Pancho Villa's army. A little racist.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it? It's San Gusto, I think they call it.
They made up South American country, and Reed is fighting the rebels, and is captured.
Yep.
Who are attacking hate mongers area, but they capture Reed. What did you think of that, other than the really racist guys?
So weirdly, this kind of goes to my theory where I think Reed was kind of the favorite of Jack and Stan at this point, because he's kind of a real man of action here, even if he's being influenced by the hate monger race, because he's being clever, he's disarming everyone, taking everyone out just by himself, and you kind of see where later writers to lesser degrees would kind of take this in the wrong direction of him being like a formidable foe unto himself.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because what happens in the 80s and the 90s, I think they move away from Reed being an active participant. sometimes. I think even Roy did it some in his, because remember, a lot of times he really doesn't fight with them. You know, Ben, Johnny, and Medusa go out and do all the fighting, and Reed stays home sulking because his wife's left him because he's a crappy husband. Yeah, so, but yeah, it's kind of, and we get a little bit more about the hate monger, but then Roy comes, you hear a wahoo on page 18, and he's barreling down, and he beats an entire army just shooting at them. It's like, I don't think he hit anybody. I think they all peed themselves and were cowering, because they all look really scared, like, oh, he's got bullets.
And then hate monger is about to feed a pill to Reed that will do things. I was not clear on what the heck was supposed to be going on here.
It's Nick goes, give him a cure, so he's giving the cure because Nick's.
Okay. Nick gave him. Okay, gotcha. I missed that.
That set him free, but then he drops while the Reed and Nick are going, hey, wait, I'm free. They drop a clear plastic force shield down, and they escape. And then Reed takes the medicine and gives it to Johnny if they have to fight, and then Ben, and then to Sue. And then they go back, and Nick has been battling this army of green shirts all by himself for 2 pages, and he's whooping all their butts, and then Ben comes up and helps him finish it off.
I just gotta say, page 20. This is why I really don't like the inking. Is like that is just that just looks unprofessional work for Ben on that whole page. Just bugs me.
Well, I mean, Sue pulls him, and he shoots his own guards, who then realize they shouldn't be fighting for him, and they shoot him. One of them said, hate monger goes, no, you can't, you mustn't. I am your leader. You must obey me. It's like soap opera acting as he goes down. And then and the green shirt goes, farewell, hate monger. They mop up the place, and they take the mask off, and it's Adolf Hitler. How could it have been Hitler? And actually, Reed says, actually, we'll never know. He was the real Hitler or one of his many doubles the Fuhrer was reported to have. What's the difference, pal? The main thing is that him and his rotten hate ray are kaput, and this time's for keeps. And I really, really dug this one. I really, really dug it. I thought it was really good. I think it's definitely a comic of its time, but I don't think I just think it was well constructed like the last one.
Yeah, no. This one, for all my griping about the angst, I think this is probably the best of the four, because it moves along at a great pace. Like there is a little wasted page space, it's not too much, and it just flows. And then it has a great Twilight Zone sort of ending.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about it, was that it's the mystery, and the hate monger comes back in different forms and stuff over the years, because it's a good concept. I mean, because every so often we gotta talk about that kind of hate. So let's move on.
Which is unfortunate, but yeah.
So we're gonna move on to 23. FF23 was 22. 22. Was released October 8th, 1963. Cover dated January 1964. The original lineup. Mole Man's in it. We get to see a lot of random people. Elise Grimm, I don't know who that is. Some people are just mentioned, the FBI, but this is basically a Mole Man comic. And a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun, but we'll see. It's got another Kirby, Ayers, Skolberg, Simak cover. The inside credits are... Oh, come on, page. There we go. Stanley, Jack Kirby, George Russo, who's credited as George Bell in the book. And then Sam Rosen, colorist unnoted. This has got an okay cover, but it's the Mole Man going up to his throne and the Fantastic Four coming at it with a pointy arrow going, celebrate with us the return of the first supervillain the FF ever faced. See now, the Mole Man is presented now in the new, much talked about Marvel manner. proudest achievement of the mighty Marvel Group. They're really, I guess FF was doing so well. They were just killing it with the accolades.
Yeah, no, they you see Marvel at least 3-4 times on this page or on this cover, and I guess you gotta do something because this is kind of a dull cover. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's so many great ones.
It's serviceable.
Yeah, if you were a kid, you'd have bought it, and it's structured the way comics used to have their cover. The banner had to be, because the way magazine racks are, folks, you don't realize that they would put them. The main image would be blocked. Unless this was in the bottom rack, all you would see would be the top third of the cover. That's why they had the Marvel had the corner boxes, so you could see who was in it.
I do like those head corner boxes a lot. I think that's a cool
they should go back
design.
To that. Just I don't think it's passe. I think it'd be a good idea. So this is Return of the Mole Man. This is okay. So the first.
Sue finally gets her power up.
The first 3 pages is the best part of this thing.
Yeah,
because her getting her powers, one, it's so important. It gives her more power to fight. It's a perfectly good idea, and it's a lot of fun. They put on this weird headdress, and it's a very model romance comic pose.
It's actually from a Playboy magazine from the time.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I only know that I was not looking through old 60s Playboys. Someone just happened to post those 2 images side by side to prove the point.
Again, I think I agree with you, and the art's a little splotchy, and I think you're right. I think it's the inks. I think it is George Russo's ink, and George Russo's a good inker. I don't think they don't mesh.
Yeah, sure, and there might be other stuff where I'm totally fine with it. It's just here it did not work for me.
And then we get to the real mission where a cop who looks drawn to look like Fred Gwynn from Car 54. Where are you? That's why he looks like. Why he looks like that. He's supposed to look like the actor Fred Gwynn, who most of y'all would have known for more like Herman Munster. My Cousin Vinny, Cotton Club. He's one of the gangsters. Him and Bob Hoskins are the gangsters that own the Cotton Club, and the original Pet Sematary.
I'll get started on
go. Ton of other things. Josh wrote children's books. Yeah.
Really?
He's got a biography on. He's a really man of. Yeah, Fred Gwynn was a really interesting dude. Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah,
I'm so glad you said that, because that was driving me. Because it's he looks so different from everyone else.
I was thinking cartoony, and then I went, "Oh, Car 54, where are you?" So they're in there, and people are people are complaining, and Ben's taking all the calls, and it's a comedic moment, which is. I
like it. It's cute enough. He yells into all of them at once, and then just destroys the phones.
But that all takes place. It's a bunch of pages. It's she gets her powers, and then all this comedy stuff takes place. Some more of her showing, how she pushes 2 guys out the door. She makes stuff invisible. She makes them invisible. But everybody's after them for money, and they chase them all away. And then next thing we know, they're in an underwater seaplane, which is cool.
Yeah.
And they amp on this island, and it's called their U-car. Okay. It sinks, and they go down in the tunnels, and they are trapped by the Mole Man. And it's just a bunch of sequences of stuff. You found out how he lived, that he's got a train that moves through he put one of his big elevators and brought down a missile complex, and he's gonna blow up the world.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was kind of skimming through this last night, just because as soon as he shows up, I find it kind of dull.
It does, and it doesn't. It's just a very generic story. It's nothing super. I mean, there's some neat stuff, but it's just very Silver Age, and I don't think reading it now in 2024 it holds up as well.
No, sorry.
But there's some good. I think there's some good art in it.
And they do have Sue use the powers to help her escape. Her new powers to help her escape.
She's the one that gets them out, because she puts a force field around the detonator, She puts a force field around them. They all get sent to prisons that or suit their ability, but they all figure ways around it. But it's more like, okay, now it's time for the puzzle where they all escape. You divide them. They battle together. You get them out. And I'm not a big Mole Man fan.
No.
And I just find whenever he shows up, it's kind of dull.
Yeah.
Because I know he's their he's one of their big villains, but he's not that interesting. I hate to say it.
No. Like, if he was just controlling kaiju after kaiju, that would be at least something. And they do that sometimes, but it's just...
I think Byrne does some stuff, and I think, ooh, wait a minute. Oh, there are 2 letters in this one. We're going to have to talk about that. Damn it. I just noticed something. I meant the letter page. So, it was... Yeah, it's just a very generic comic. But I did want to point out there are 2 letters from 2 famous people in here. I don't think I will read... The first one is, Dear Stan and Jack. When the tumult and the shouting have died, one fact will remain. It has been a great season from comic fandom. I have read all the latest mags you have put out, and overall I say excellent. Greatest of the great, of course, was the Fantastic Four Annual. The story was, to say the least, Submariner versus the human race, everything you promised us and more. This should go down in comics history as one of the greats of all time. Not only was the art superb as usual, but the story was one of the most gripping and dramatic epics I have ever read anywhere. Above all, this story illustrates the little-known fact that Submariner is not as bad as he is thought to be. He has honor, and he is merely fighting for what he believes in. Next, The Avengers, great. That was one of the best magazines on the market today, and I hope it does as Fantastic Four has done, and will continue to do so. The battles between the Hulk and Iron Man were nothing short of fabulous. Finally, X-Men! Exclamation point. Overall, the mag was another great. First, I really went for the story, and the artwork was good, except for the inking. Story and artwork was good, except for the inking. And that was only fair. On the individual X-Men, I flipped over the Angel. Keep up the good work. You make comic reading a pleasure and an adventure. Dave Cockrum, 116 Abbott Hall, Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, Illinois.
Well, Dave, I got some good news for you from the future.
Yeah. And then there is another letter from somebody called Roy Thomas from Jackson, Missouri.
All right.
Yeah, and let me see if there's anything. Just more mushing, but I just thought I just randomly saw Grunwald and Cockrum. I was like, wow, I like that. And it's Cockrum before he went in the Air Force, because I've seen other letters from him when he was in the Air Force.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Good.
Yeah. That's how he got his first gig.
Oh.
He wrote into people and he made contact. So next should be a fantastic comic because it has Dr. Doom in it.
Should be.
We're moving on to that. So this one was released on November 12th, 1963. Just little over a week until the first Doctor Who will appear. Cover dated February 1964. Again, another Kirby, Russo, Goldberg, Simic cover, and the same on the inside with the art. Fantastic Four, as usual, is the same. Yancey Bangier, Dr. Doom, a Doombot, and the Terrible Trio consisting of Bull Brogan, Yogi Decor, and Harry Phillips. This one didn't rock my world either. This one, it's not as rough as the previous issue, but just not as good as other FF books. It starts with them. There's a dinosaur running around. Read, shut the door to the damn lab, you dumbass.
You cannot have a time machine with Ben and Johnny running around.
They send the dinosaur back, and they talk about time travel. And then
everyone wants to be a leader for some reason now.
And these 3 men have come. They've been recruited by Dr. Doom and a Doombot. The three men, Bill Brogan, Handsome Harry Phillips, and Yogi Dakur. They're going to become henchmen for Doc. But also, Reed has told everybody that they need to come up with who will be a leader if he's not around. And Ben, Johnny, and Sue all vote for themselves. I really didn't like this. I don't like it. And I'm nitpicking. It's kids because it starts some comedic fighting. But to have them all just be jerks and get into a fight and Sue be one of the people fighting?
I know. It's like, Sue, come on. Even in 63, you should be the one to not partake in this.
And Reed is mad at him. He gives him brooms. He punishes them. And then we cut to Dr. Doom giving the three flunkies powers.
But not great powers, as he pretty much says right to their face.
Yeah, they're not. They each get one power. The first person, which is, oh, come on, their name is. One of them gets super hearing so he can fight Sue. I think that's a good way to fight her because, doesn't have to see her.
That actually, that makes sense. That's actually
Bill Brogan gets muscle power so he can fight Ben. And Yogi Dakur is flame retardant. They're pretty basic powers.
Yeah. It even says, like, you're not as strong as the Thing, but you want me to fight the Thing. Okay.
Yeah.
You bailed me out.
Yeah, I don't get that. That's a little messed up. So then he tells them about their powers, and then we cut to a news. It looks like Scrapper from the Newsboy Legion selling a paper, selling Human Torch to torch Marvel new car. So this team splits up. Johnny's testing out this new futuristic car. It looks pretty cool, and the Yogi is there. And the Yogi starts smoking a cigarette, and the vehicle is lined and double coated with a coating of asbestos. Yeah. Little, that didn't age well. And he can't burn.
Nope.
Because he can't burn his way out, and he can't burn the Yogi. Johnny is captured. I want to just call him a Kirby. The Yankee Street gang represent Jack's childhood, most definitely. And there's this Yankee Streeter is fighting with the Ben, and while he's doing it, the super powered Bull Brogan comes up through the sewer, and they have a fight. And he has a cosmic beam gun given to him by Dr. Doom, which turns Ben back into a human, and he's easily defeated.
Or three panels.
Yes.
Read and Sue's foreplay for the next page.
What was this about? Were you being creepy, hubby, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I just want to go back. I think Johnny's is pretty much he's Lord basically with the whole car was like Doom putting a giant do not press button for Johnny to press like a trap. And you can't smell that.
I know you, especially since we're 20 issues in. It's got to be a bad guy doing all this. But then the bad guy that can hear thing, he fights Sue and they're captured, and then a robot looking like the Thing tricks Reed, and him and Dr. Doom just slide two clear boxes cubes next to each other and weld it shut. Are there air holes?
Good question.
When he's done, he blows up. You have a perfectly good Thing robot, and you destroyed it. What the heck?
I know, that bugged me so much. It's like, you could use that again.
And then he gives his three henchmen books and earn money for your loyalty. You're most generous. And then he goes, more generous than you think. Each box is a priceless dimensional transport machine capable of taking you to another dimension when opened. And there you will remain until your master has need of you again. Whoa! I didn't remember that. So I wonder if these guys show back up sometime.
Well, you're looking at, I do just really love the so undoomed pose he's in, where he's just kind of kicking his feet up on the coffee table, leaning back, and it's just like, this is the most relaxed he has ever or will ever look. He's in a full suit of armor doing it.
Bull Brogan has 7 appearances. I just used him, so let's see.
Wow. Bull Brogan, Yogi, I can't remember his last name. These two will kind of, again, as Etrigan's friends in the Demon series he does over at DC, they look very similar to Randu and Harry over in that series. So that just kind of...
Okay, this shows Brogan was at least in FF23, Strange Tales 122, Strange Tales 129, Marvel 2 and 160, Penance Relentless Volume 1, number 1, Fantastic Four for Yancey Street Volume 1, number 1, and Fantastic Four Marvel Snapshots Volume 1. I want to see who was in Marvel 2 and 160. Maybe it was a whole terrible trio. You never get...
That wasn't cool.
Yeah, so that's pulling up. Yeah, but they don't come back. But, the Fantastic Four, well, that's pulling that up because I do want to talk about it a little bit because I want to talk about them. So there's more traps, more fighting, and it's good. I mean, it's drawn well. The action's packed. I mean, having read, like I've said, folks, you've heard me say this on the podcast before, is that I really love 70s Kirby more than like 60s Kirby.
Yep.
But I do love him I do love his FF. I'm loving this stuff. It's, for the most part, it's up and down. Some art's not been so bad. And when Sinnott gets on it, oh heck, when Coletta gets on it, it's better. Coletta, I don't mind Coletta. I don't mind Coletta's inks for Sinnott gets. That one arc he did, I thought it was it's good.
It's good. It's really good. I do want to say for them, at least, again, here, they're doing a little better with Sue, where she is able to do a force field that allows Ben to break his trap, which allows Ben to free Reed. And then Doom has this weird device that with a big purple fuzzy thing that I have no idea what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like, why are you padding it? It's, you don't hurt him. It's like a battering ram. But they fight, and then Dr. Doom climbs through. He escapes. He's on the other side of the room, and the room is starting to disintegrate. This is what I don't like. This is really like solar waves. Okay.
I think my notes have Stan Lee does a disservice with whatever the fuck he's trying to explain Jack's art.
Yeah, because it's like, Reed, look, the floor is dissolving. You can see outer space outside. What's happening? I should have guessed. Dr. Doom has put us directly in the path of a solar wave. He must have known it was about to pass this way. Ben goes, "What blue blazes is a solar wave?" This is bad science from Reed. I learned of the waves years ago when an abandoned weather station was caught in the path of one. As the solar wave noiselessly brushed past the station, it was attracted by some of the ionic dust particles which had drifted down from the atmosphere. Within seconds, the entire roof was gone, transferred to outer space in some strange way. And now Dr. Doom must have come up with that same ionic dust powder. So she's behind the wall, but she can sense him because she knows she can use her powers through walls and stuff because it's all thought controlled, and that's cool. And Dr. Doom is stuck to the wall as the room gets smaller and smaller, and a hatch opens up. Ben pulls him out and throws him into outer space. I like the art in this a lot. I like how the world is dissolving. I even like the bad science panels. And then you see Dr. Doom falling past the planet. There's a big red flat disc floating of it, yelling help. They all get through the window, Ben being the last one, and then the room is gone.
And we just end abrupt right there.
I just want to say that it wasn't a terrible one. It just was a very Silver Age standard. But there are things I liked about it. I thought the art overall was a little bit better. Yeah. I like the ending with the bad science because I like the art of the universe falling apart. That becomes a very, that's more a Steve Ditko, Doctor Strange kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's easily the best part of the issue is just the art in the last 2 pages.
But we knew what we're getting to. But I'm glad it was half and half, and I'm looking at the next 4. which are good. I think they're good. The Infant Terrible is weird, but it's iconic. Then you got The Thing versus Hulk two-parter, one of the first two-parters in the Avengers guest star. And then you got Doom and Submariner back together. So I think we're moving forward because the rest of what's in here is very good, including the introduction of El Diablo.
So, I always call the next kind of half year, like the big crossover promoting all our other books, because we also have Doctor Strange in there at some point, and Daredevil.
Daredevil one I like. I really like the Daredevil one. Yeah. And I like that they draw Daredevil look like Wood was drawing it. So.
Oh, and then we have I don't think it'll be next time, but time after we'll have the Doctor Doom annual. Ooh,
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But this was, it was very much the world of really good and meh. So, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, these are from the early 1960s. It's a different world that they were meant for little kids. I get it. I think I'm not as hard on them as I could have been, and I think other people would be who are like, it's the Silver Age. They're really childish, but they're written for children. I mean, comic fans have this thing as we get older. It's like, well, I'm not any different. It's like, yeah, you are. The reasons you're reading were different, and the love of old stuff is sometimes nostalgia. And I do think comics are very different. And they change. They change constantly, and they just, it's not static. In my lifetime, I've seen. I don't even want to think about how many times comics have drastically changed. What they said drastically changed, but they're still what they are. Overall, I'm glad we're doing this little exercise and redoing it and reading them in order and doing it 4 at a time because it would take forever. And two. Yeah. But I think you get a cross section. So I like that where people going. Well, they're not loving everything. We're loving. We've been brutal a couple times.
I gotta be honest.
We've been brutal a couple times, but I think, man, just to think about it, the next 4 is great, and then the 4 after that is I'm in my omnibus. 3 of the issues are there, and the annual is at the beginning of the next omnibus because we're almost at the end of the first omnibus volume 1. And as we talked in another podcast, they're putting out more of the omnibus. They're also, I think there's a couple FFs filling holes in Epics coming up. DC's got a lot of stuff coming out. I'm looking forward to Volume 6, and they're doing a Volume 5. That's been announced and has been solicited in Volume 6, which will take you up to right before the Byrne stuff, the first Byrne stuff. So they will have to do a little omnibus that double dips. That has a couple issues, then the first batch of the Wolfman Byrne stuff, and then the Wolfman Perez and other people, and then that'll fill that gap when he takes over as writer and artist. So that's weird that's at that close.
Yeah, no. So I'm getting all the Fantastic Fours except for I guess the ones I already have in Omni. I'll begin those in the Epic. So
that's what I did with Avengers.
I'm filling in those gaps.
Everything after Volume 4, I have that is in Epic, and the whole I have, unless they start doing a Roger Stern era volumes like the Grunwald is for Cap, which I resold my Gatherer saga because it's missing issues, so I just said screw it. It's mapped the same way, but without missing issues in the epics. So that was fine. So I hope they do a Stern run. I would like that a great deal. I think he deserves it. But they are finally putting out another one of his epics because the gap is between him, Michelini, and him.
Yeah. Because let's see, the one just had the one with issue 200, which that's a whole podcast.
Yeah. When I do that,
but it's like that.
But it's it is, and it's weird because there's only one Stern one, and that's Under Siege.
And the one right after Under Siege, which I think ends Stern's run. So there's two, but everything.
Now there's one that's going to have a gap on either side of it. To fill the gap, to fill that hole that's there. So they're it's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But we'll see. because that'd be good. Reading them in these versions is, when I was a kid, we didn't have anything earlier than this, I think, in our collection. And we had, we went back, we may have had a Rama Tut or something. But I've always, I've never been able to just kind of read these because I never had good runs of them. And I'm glad that Deep Marvel's got a lot of it out in different formats. Folks, I like those little mini Masterworks, folks. You can get them at a comic shop if your comic shop gives you a discount as a subscriber. If not, you can get them cheap for like less than $10 from in-stock trades or cheap graphic novels. They're a great way to do it. And they just announced the 4th Masterworks of Avengers, and that's what I did with some Cap. Because my Cap reading thing is between Omnis, Epics, and those little trades. And when I'm done sometime today, I'm going to read some Lee, Cap, Falcon, Red Skull, which I'm really enjoying. So overall, 50-50.
Yeah, like, sorry, you can't bet 1,000 every time. And this is just a whole bunch of, like, I was wondering, how stretched were they? Like, I guess Cockrum said, like, they had X-Men, they had Avengers.
Yeah, because X-Men and Avengers premiered on the same day.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
was
that.
Lee Kirby.
Okay.
Jack was drawing his ass off. He was probably drawing 2 pages a day. And it shows. And you see he gets down to a couple books and they put a good inker on him who can take some of the burden off him. With Sinnott, it is you lock down what FF looks like. That is FF.
Yep.
Everybody's doing that. Byrne, when he first takes over FF as both writer and artist, he veers toward this art. He does very and it's good. It looks good. But he goes for a George Russo ink style, and it's very like this. Think about it. You look at that first one. You got it nearby?
I'm going to do that after we hang up.
If you look at it, folks, it's pretty heavy. His inking is really, really heavy, like Russo's is. And I like it. That first year of his whole run is pretty good. His whole run is it's the best thing he did. I saw Kurt Busiek say, someone was busting chops on something, stuff changing, and it led to Russo. Someone mentioned Byrne, and Busiek said, well, Byrne liked to fix, do things that he wanted to do. He thought there was ways to do it, and stuck to those ways. And because he stuck to those ways, he's not in the business anymore, meaning he wasn't flexible. And I was like going, that is the best description of why people have a problem with Byrne.
Yeah. So for Byrne, his FF, like, love it unconditionally. Everything else Byrne does, even if I do like it, there's usually an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, I think his best stuff is really his FF as an artist in a lot of ways. But because there's stuff he shouldn't have done. I mean, I read everything he did, and I liked most of it. I like him with Claremont. They did that's some really great comics. That's a really
okay.
I think Byrne, Claremont's his best, and I think his FF is number 2. Having finally gotten to, well, that's something we need to talk about because I've finished Kirby since we spoke last. And Kirby was 100% right when he said it kind of goes down. I agree, except I like the Gangster Scroll Planet story a lot.
That's one I can't wait to. If we can get that far, I would love to get that.
Yeah, we may have to cover those and a piece of the action because it's basically, I don't know. I think Star Trek stole it.
Yeah.
From them, but Byrne, yeah, there's stuff of his that I didn't like, and there's stuff of his I love. Like his Doom Patrol was terrible. It was fucking awful. His Spider-Man was not good.
Oh, I can't even picture him on Spider-Man.
He's not the right art. No, because his team up was good, but he was right. I just don't think. But I'm not a big Spidey fan, so it's when I like Spidey, I tend to like stuff that other people don't like. But there's some weird stuff of his that I do like. Someone posted X-Men, his X-Men that's set before the Hidden Years, X-Men Hidden Years.
Oh, okay, I've heard of it. Yep.
I enjoy it. but it's him doing retro comic, and that's fine because he understands he reads like a 70s Thomas Neil Adams FF. It's pretty good, and you know where it's at. And when he does that same crossover story from FF, but from the X-Men point of view, and he draws Crystal to look a little Kirby-esque in it. Okay. So it's kind of cool. And that or Lost Generation. I love Lost Generation. I love it. I will die on that hill. It's a weird miniseries. It reads backwards from 12 to 1. It's about the heroes that happened between the Second World War and the FF. And it's kind of like an experiment like he did with Generations. And I love Generations, the Superman Batman Generation series.
Right. Yeah.
That shit's that's fan wank fun, especially the first one is really good, but it's good. But if you can find, it's not been Hidden Years has not been collected, I don't think. But I have it in a box. I've not sold it. Because it's one of the Byrne series. Because I like the characters, and he intermixed the internal, so there are superheroes in the 50s, and there's the Skrulls. It's a good way to fill the gap, and I liked it. It's kind of like DC did, and I don't know if it was Ostrander. I think it was in Chase. Whoever was writing Chase and Manhunter kind of did some 70s stuff, which had the Martian Manhunter had a different superhero name.
Okay, I do remember. Yeah, that was definitely Ostrander's Martian Manhunter. I remember that.
So there was a bit like trying to explain that there were heroes in the 70s. You don't remember their names, which I like. So, but that's good. But Byrne's FF is second only to Stan and Jack's. Stan and Jack from a little before Inhumans, like you said, through
probably the 80s, late 80s.
Yeah, in the late 80s. That's Rockstar FF. And some of that isn't even Senate yet. But once Senate comes on, Senate is that the writing starts changing when we get to the two-parters. And we're going to go to the first two-parter next time we talk.
Yep.
And that becomes kind of the model. They do have a couple. We got to go back to the Kitty stuff. They backpedal a little bit.
Yeah, they do.
Then they get
Terrible.
They start to assume that their readership is teenagers, young teenagers, like 13, 14, I think. And they start gearing to that age because they're getting letters from those kids. So they know those kids are spending it. Roy, Mark Grunwald, Dave Cockrum, those letters I read. It's though they start realizing because, Roy gets a job with them. All this stuff, we joke about the people that were famous comic writers who wrote to Marvel and DC. Mm-hmm. Bob Rozakis, they did Earth 2 podcast, they talk about every time they see Bob Z, they know it's Bob Rozakis. And so we had a couple here. And at some point we're going to see Kurt Busiek and J.R.R. Martin. J.R.R. Martin's already written a couple.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were. I'm gonna start mentioning them when I find them in this. So.
Man, I got a bunch of jokes I will make that are very mean to him that I will keep to myself.
Yeah. No, fans of his are very, where's the last two books? Yeah. But overall, I'm having fun. Let's get on to recommendations. I'll let you go first. What do you got to recommend?
Okay, so I have not had a whole lot to read this week, so I want to plug this while I can. I probably shouldn't do it on the Marvel book, but it's the DC Book of Lists. I got this on Prime Day, and I think nice. I talked you into it.
Yeah. I love it.
So this does so much a better job of giving you the overview of the DC universe than so many of ththose like DC encyclopedias.
There's a ton of stuff I didn't know in this.
Yeah.
The Green Lantern page, I was like, who the hell are these people?
Yeah, and it's like, hey, do you want to know like all of like Bruce Wayne's ancestors that were probably mentioned like in 3 Silver Age stories? They're here. They will give you a short description. Like, and what I really saw that made me recommend this to you was the Legacy of Starman, which includes the one that was in like 2 issues that Jonah Hex covers. Everyone you could want, all of the twins, everything. There's healthy Legion representation throughout this book too, which I really appreciate. They're not just sidelined, and there was nothing leaping out at me in any of the sections that I've really delved in deep where there was stuff missing. Like I didn't notice any big omissions there.
That's cool. Well, I like in this one they had this graph of switching teams.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that, alternate and possible futures. This thing's great. I sit out on my balcony and when it's not fucking an oven, and read a couple pages and self-medicate. It's a lot of fun. It's a great one. I also want to get the book of events.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I need to get the book of events because I want to do some. I want to cover some events. Because I do want to cover more team. But we're going to do a bunch of team ups, folks. I've not forgotten I'll announce it after this. But my recommendation, there's one I'm enjoying. There's a lot of stuff I'm enjoying. I finished the first trade of the 6th gun. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I'm watching Ted Lasso for the first time, and I'm in love with that show. But I do have a comic I want to I would like you guys to check out, or a line. We've talked about Ghost Machine, but I saw someone posting the next Ghost Machine title's been announced. It's the Rocket Fellas.
Ooh.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I have enjoyed everything. I got the Geiger deluxe edition hardcover that has the first 6-issue miniseries in the 80-page giant. Read it, guys. This is some good stuff. I'm reading all of it. I thought Rook Exodus was going to be the book I read 1 or 2 and then gave up on because it's the science fiction one. And
it's not my favorite of the 3. I'm reading all of them too, and yeah, it's not my favorite of the 3, but it's still good.
I like it.
It's really good.
It's good comic science fiction. That's hard. I'm not easy to please. I'm very picky with my favorite is something called Starjammers. It was drawn by Don Newton, and Jerry Conway wrote it. Probably Jerry Conway wrote it, or maybe Marv. I actually liked Star Wars in the black and white comics. I remember reading this, but it's a really good one, and it's a good run. But get that, and they're doing a Junkyard Joe one, which will have its mini-series, which I'm really looking forward to that coming out. I will probably get those all. And Red Coat is good. I'm enjoying Red Coat.
I was explaining Red Coat to a friend,
they
and I'm
rolled
like...
their eyes at you? My wife explained it to me, Leslie. Like, she was like, what? Okay. Well, I don't get it. Albert didn't really... intriguing.
They were kind of into it, because I even phrased it, it's like, okay, a lot of stuff, like, one of the things to deal with is George Washington's axe, empowered by the myth of him chopping down the cherry tree. And I'm like, even when teenage Einstein is his sidekick, it doesn't break anything.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And it really, that's why I like, there's some of, you might like 6 Gun, because the magic guns are like that. It's cool. Yep.
I know I will like Cullen Bunn is a writer. I just had a lot of unfortunate first encounters with him. I'm like, I think him on his own independent project is something where I'm like,
I don't think I've read anything. I've read some of his X-Men, and I did make me want to go read his. I could see this as a well-produced CW show.
Okay,
I mean that as a compliment. Yeah, I mean that like it is so well built. The world is so, within the first 2 issues, they explain everything. It is not over-explained. You get exposition as a story in and of itself as people, because it's set in the Old West, so everything's word of mouth. People going from town to town. And I like Westerns. I'm a Western person. I was looking for a Western to watch last night because I like certain ones. I want to watch She Wore a Yellow Ribbon.
I like that one. Yeah,
it's one of the best acting jobs Wayne ever did, because he's playing an older character. He's playing older than himself. But I'm not, it's $2.99. Yeah. It got to be free somewhere. So, but I wanted and watch Silverado, which is a masterpiece. It's a great Western. It's one of my favorite Westerns. But I wanted to, and that's why I got it, because it was a Western comic. And I've seen Omar talk about it, and I liked it. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. These omnibuses are great. You get the first volume has the first 17 issues, which is the first arc, but it's like 2 sections that make up one arc, where you're introduced to everything and what's going on and what the guns represent. And then the next one is the origin of the bad guys, told from each one's point of view until they become a group. And it was awesome. Awesome. And there's a prose piece in it about the origin of one of the main characters. It was great. So I've just paused and then I read it straight through. I stopped reading other things because I was enjoying it so much. So it was great. And that will be my recommendation. But I do recommend what I'm doing now is, y'all see, if you're following me, I'm doing 4 issues of different books and I'm jumping around and sharing it. So I started my 0-hour reread. And I'm reading it in the omnibus in publication order. So there's a lot of stuff I don't remember. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. Because I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. But that said, I haven't read it in 30 years. So we'll see. So, all right. Thank you again, Kirby. We'll have to come back for that. When we hang up, I'm going to ask you about something to record pretty soon.
All right.
I think you'll jump on. You'll say yes to that. Folks, thanks for listening. Listen to us ramble about silly 60 comics, and be smart, be safe, please be kind to one another, and go read some FF. Pick your era.
Yep. See you, everybody.